students. This is for standard 9. The lesson is laws of motion. Now in the previous video you will have already learned about contact and non-contact forces. Alright. So now this is the second part of the lesson. Now in this part again I've divided this part into linear momentum and Newton's second law of motion. So today I'm going to teach you all only about linear momentum under the lesson laws of motion. Right? Now suppose there are two objects. For example, I have two balls. Now one is a sponge ball, which is a lighter one, and another one is a rubber ball, which is much heavier as compared to this one. So that means both of these will have different masses. Okay. So, and suppose I'm setting them into motion. They have different masses and the velocity with which they both travel is the same. Alright. So now in which case do you think the force needed to stop both the balls will be more in the same time? Alright. So in fact you will find that the force that is needed to stop this ball, okay, will be, the force that is needed will be more, whereas here you will need a less force. Alright, now I'm going to take another example wherein suppose you have two balls having same mass. Imagine both of them to have same mass, and they both are set into motion. Right, force is applied, they both are being sent into motion and they travel with different velocities. Right? So the one which is having a higher velocity, in order to stop that ball you need more force. Okay, so I have discussed two cases provided that time is the same. So I have discussed two cases. In the first case, when they both one is a heavier object, one is a lighter object, velocity is same. To stop both the objects, you find both the balls, you need more force when the mass is more. Whereas in the second case, I said mass is the same, but the velocities with which they are traveling is different. So the one which is having a higher velocity, you find that the force that is needed to stop this ball, that is the one with a higher velocity, will be more. That means this force will depend on mass of the object and velocity of the object. So it depends on mass and velocity. So force needed to stop an object when you are comparing two objects will either depend on mass or velocity, or both mass and velocity. So here we are going to learn a term which is called as linear momentum. Linear momentum. It is, in general, it is also called as momentum. So momentum means we are talking about linear momentum. Now what is this linear momentum? It is the product of mass and velocity. This linear momentum is denoted by small p. This small p is equal to mv, where m is the mass of the object and v is the velocity of the object. P is the linear momentum. Now from here we'll derive the unit of momentum. So mass, if mass is in SI, unit of mass is kilograms. Mass is in kilograms, and velocity, SI unit of velocity is meters per second. Alright. So the SI unit of momentum is kg meter per second. Right? And in the CGS form it will be P. Now this is the SI unit of momentum, and in the CGS form you are going to have grams centimeter per second. Okay, so this was about linear momentum, that P is equal to mv. Right? So next, now we are going to learn about change in momentum. So what is change in momentum? Now we already know that a force is needed to start an object, force is needed to stop an object. So what is this change in momentum? Change in linear momentum, right? Now this change in momentum is denoted by, a small change in momentum is denoted by delta P, which is equal to, now you will have already learned that momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So I can say it is delta times mv, where m is the mass and v is the velocity. Now what is this delta? Delta is that means there is a small change that is taking place, right? Now here also there are two cases possible. Like if the mass is not changing, then I can write this as m times delta v. It means only velocity is changing. Or in the second way, I can write delta p is equal to delta times mv, like how I have written over here. So now here, if the particles are atomic particles which travel with the speed of light, okay, then you find when they travel with the speed of light, you find the value of mass will not remain the same, because mass, as the object travels at a very high speed equal to the speed of mass, equal to the speed of light, you find there is a change in mass, okay, which is in fact given as so this mass will become m0 upon square root of 1 minus v upon c, the whole square, where c is the speed of light, v will be the velocity with which that object is traveling, okay, and m0 is the rest mass of that particular object, when it is at rest. So there will be a new value for this m. So there are two cases possible. If when only the velocity is changing, we consider m times change in momentum to be delta p to be equal to m times delta v, alright? Okay, so now after knowing the change in momentum, I'm going to explain about the rate of change of momentum. Next is rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. So if the momentum, if you take initial velocity to be initial velocity is u and final velocity is v, alright? So the momentum, if mass is m and the initial velocity is u, you are going to get initial momentum to be, you know that momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So initial momentum will be m times u and final momentum will be m times v. So what will be the change in momentum? Now change in momentum will be given by the difference between final momentum and initial momentum, which will be equal to m times v minus m times u. The v is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity. If you want to know the rate of change of momentum, now force applied, whenever you are applying a force, that force will in fact change the momentum. So whenever there is force being applied, for smaller objects you find velocity will not remain the same, instead velocity will change. So force is equal to m times v minus m times u, and since it is the rate of change of momentum, so this change will take place in a certain time. So that time is written here. So mass will remain the same. This is for objects where the mass remains the same. So this can be written as m times v minus u upon t. Correct? So this is m times. But you all have already learned that v minus u upon t is nothing but acceleration that is produced. So I can change it and I can write it in terms of acceleration, that force is equal to the product of mass and v minus u upon t is a, which is acceleration. So from momentum we are able to get this equation, that is F is equal to ma. That means whenever force is being applied, you find there is acceleration being produced in the in that particular object. So you get an equation like this, F equals ma. So I can say that the rate of change of momentum is directly equal to the force that is being applied, and this in fact is nothing but Newton's second law of motion. Now this Newton's second law of motion will be dealt with in the next part of this video. Alright, so here I am stopping here, and we'll see the second law of motion in the next part. Thank you.